Hello everyone and welcome again. So today I'm really excited as we are going to start learning Tableau desktop software. This is mostly for the beginners. Therefore, if you have some knowledge of how to use this software, probably this may not be very useful to you. But it is okay. We can work together and learn more. So I'm going to assume that you have no background in the use of Tableau desktop at all. And we are going to start from the very basics and we are going to work our way up step by step and we will get a little bit more advanced. I'm not going to make you an expert in just these few hours or within this one recording, but by the end of this, I hope you will be able to practice by yourself how to use this software and you can become an expert. Why should we use Tableau anyways? Tableau is not the only software that we can use for data visualizations. There are so many visualization software and we can use any. For instance, we could use Excel. Remember, we started with Excel and we created wonderful visualizations. Also, you can use Power BI or you can use Python, R, pivot table, and so forth. But Tableau is an easy software for visualizations as it offers drag and drop features that can help you create outstanding visualizations. So you need the software, right? You can download it from the website. So what we are going to do first is to download the software. You can download software, use it for 14 days. If you're a student, you don't really need to buy the software. You can download it as a student and you can get your license for a year. So let me assume that you are a student and I'm going to show you how you can download Tableau software for free. You can get subscription for 1 year. So you can go and search, and in this case, just type Tableau. You can see Tableau download and students. And so if you click on it, you will see Tableau for students. You could also download it just instead of downloading it as a student. So you can just type Tableau. You can just go to Tableau and you can download it. So you can try it now and also you can buy it. But I'll advise you, if you're a student, just download it as a student. And so when you click here, you can get Tableau for free. And so here, there is free academic license. And that is good for 1 year. So why don't you go for it? Once you download it, you'll be asked to provide your information to show if you are a student. So when you download the software and have it on your desktop, the next thing is to use it. So you can open the software and it will look like this, only that you won't have these files. These are the files which are saved for me. I've been working on them. But if you haven't worked on the software, if it's your first time, then this section will be clear. However, you will see this section which is in blue, and let's call it the first column, and we have this second column or section, and also we have this section, and I'm going to explain all of them. So let's start with this logo. This is Tableau's logo, and so when you click on it, it will bring you to this screen, but also if you click on it again, it will bring you back to this screen, which is our initial screen. So down here, you can see searching for data. You know that we are using Tableau to create visualizations, and so you need data to be able to do so. And in that case, then we need to know how we can get data to Tableau and be able to use it. So you can get data from different sources, and also you can download data which is saved in different ways. So for instance, you can open a file on your computer, which is Microsoft Excel file, but also if you have data that is in text file, you can also use it in Tableau. Remember, for Microsoft Excel, you may not use the text file or even the data. If it's not in numeric, Excel may not be able to read. But Tableau can actually read any type of information, and especially if you have your data saved in text file, you can open it, or you can also open data that is in PDF file or any other forms of file that you may have saved on your computer or from different sources. Also, you can get data from different servers. For instance, you can get data from Microsoft SQL Server. You can get it from MySQL, Oracle, and so forth. But there are some more servers that you can get data. For instance, here we have a list of them. And so you can select any if that's where you can get your data. You can get data of the data which is saved already. And here we have sample superstore data that you can use it. So this section is all about how you can get data. So what we have to do is just to get data, right? And so that's what we're going to do. Now, this section, as I said, when you work on a number of files, they'll be saved here. So you can open any of the files and continue working on them. But also we have the sample workbooks, Superstore, Regional, World Indicators. They are coming with the software. This section here provides a number of useful information. For instance, you can see how to get started with Tableau, talk about Tableau environment and so forth. You can get resources like you can get Tableau prep. You can also be in the community, and you can go to the forums and share or even see what other people are talking about. So that's all with this page. So as I said, the first thing that you need to do is to get data to be able to work with Tableau software. So all I'm going to do is to get data which is saved on my computer. You can get from different sources, as I said, but for now, I'm going to download the file which is saved on my computer, and I'm going to click on the Microsoft Excel. And in this case, I am going to use the Global Superstore Excel file. Also, you can see that I have this file here, this one here, which is saved as CSV. That one also I can open and use it with this extension. But for now, let me open the Global Superstore data. And so when you open your data, you're going to get this screen. And you can see down here, we have data source, and then we have sheet 1, and also we have this one, which is also the new worksheet. And then we have this, which is dashboard. I will explain what does it mean by the dashboard. And also you can have the new story. So what you're going to do is we'll work on sheet 1. This is where you can create your visualizations. But before we go there, then I'm going to explain to you the data source. And so you can see that I downloaded the Global Superstore data from my desktop. That is the file which I saved on the desktop. So here is the file, and you can see that the file has a number of worksheets, like we have orders, we have people, returns, and so forth. So these are 3 different files that came with the Global Superstore data. So let's say that you may need any file from any other source, you can actually download it in addition to what you have. And so you can go to the file and you can open the file which is saved and add to what we have. You can actually go online and find another file and you can still download, and you may have all your files listed here. So now we will only deal with the global superstore, and then we can proceed with some other information. So, and if you see here, we have orders and also we have people and return. Those are different, or I'll say 3 files. But I would like to start working with the orders. And so all I'm going to do is to drag this file or folder and drop it here. So just grab it and bring it here. Once you drop it there, you can see that that particular file will open, and you can see I have it here. So this file has got the row ID, order dates, and so forth. These are the variables, but with Tableau, we call them fields. And you can look at the type of data you have all the way through. You can see, for instance, I have shipping cost, which is numerical. We have profit, which is also numerical, discount, which is numerical, and quantity. Even sales is numerical. But some other files are also, they are actually non-numerical. You can see they are listed. Now, before we proceed, we could also bring in this particular file, and so we can join our data together. So if you grab people and bring it here, you can see that I'm adding that particular file to the existing one. And so it can ask you, where do you want this to be? And you can see we have regions and we have people. So let me remove this. You can see we have region and we have people, and so we can add these particular variables in our first file. And so you can have it as persons or as regions. And also we have returns. You could also add returns here, and that will also be added. So that means if you have different files, you can actually join them together and have one big file. So after downloading, or after we have putting all these files together, we could move on to sheet 1 and start creating visualizations. But let me go back to the orders. And so remember, before you create visualizations or before you start working with your data, first of all, you have to examine it and see if you need to update your data, or you want to clean or modifying your data, and so forth. That's we learn how to start dealing with the data first. For instance, you can see that we have this column where we are missing a lot of information, and this may be a little problem, and it's because we don't use the postal code everywhere except in US. You can see we have this postal code, but in New South Wales or in Australia, they don't use the postal code, so this information is not available. So because we are missing data, we could actually remove this particular file, meaning that we are cleaning our data. We may have some information which we don't need. We can leave it or we can remove it. You can as well change the variable names. For instance, you can go here and rename it. Instead of the existing name, you can actually use another name. You can copy values and paste them somewhere else. You could also hide this particular column or any column. You can create aliases, and also you can create calculated fields. Let's take an example of how to, I will take an example of how to create calculated fields later, but let's proceed. So you can create group, you can split and do a number of things, or you can also describe this particular, any of these columns. So for instance, here we have markets, and so I may decide to rename it something else, like I can call it whatever I want to, and that's how it will read when I'm working on the data. So you need to look at the data that you have and make sure that your data is clean before even you start working on it. You look at how it's organized. You may need to pivot your data if necessary or do anything possible. But now we are not going to change anything with our data, but later I'll show you how you can modify your data before you start working on it. So since we are all set with the data that we have, now we can open sheet 1. So just click here. Remember, before I clicked here, you can add more worksheets as you want. For instance, if I click there, I can have sheet number 2 and so forth. So I'm going to start working with sheet number 1. So when you click there, you will get this screen. Now, if you are a beginner, in order to enjoy Tableau, you need to understand the mechanics first. So for a novice, the many different panels and icons may seem pretty confusing, but please don't be discouraged. So let's spend some time to get used to them. So let's look at this Tableau interface, and let's go all the way to the top. You can see I'm using Mac, so that's the logo for Mac, and it shows Tableau. But here we have File, Data, Worksheet, Dashboard, Story Analysis, and so forth. So that is the first ribbon, and it has all this kind of information. And then we have the toolbar, and the toolbar is this one where you have the logo, and also we have undo and redo, and we have this you can save your data, although Tableau will save your data automatically after some time. And then you can have the new data source, meaning that you may have data, but you can open another data other than the global superstore from any other source. So here you can pause automatic update, and so you don't really need to deal with this. And we have more. Like here you have you can add the new worksheet as you can add by clicking on this. Also, you can duplicate the worksheet, but you could also right click and you can duplicate it. And also here we have more, like you can clear the sheets, you can rotate, or you can swap rows and columns. You could also organize your data from the smallest to the largest, or from the largest to the smallest, so you can sort your data. Here you can highlight your data, you can attach, or you can group your data. You can include the text, you can pin your data, your file, or you can fix the access. You can use the standard, meaning that when you create your visualization, so you can look at it as standard, or you can create how you want it to be. It can either be the entire view, or you may want your visualizations to fit width or height or anything. So this ribbon is actually very important. We have this, which we call Show Me. I will explain about it later. So we have this we call Data Analytics pane, and you can see that it is actually open, and in this case you can see the variables, or we can say fields, which are in the data source. So if you go back to the data source, these are the fields which are listed: the segment, city, state, country, and so forth. So in sheet 1 you can see everything is also listed. these are the fields, or we call variables. And also we have analytics. And if you click on the analytics, you can see how to summarize data. You can look at different models and customs. And so going back to the data, you can see these variables are actually divided into two, and this is important for you to understand. We have dimensions, and also we have meshes. Now, if you put your mouse in any of this, you can see we have blue color. And if you go down here, you can see we have green color. So the blue color normally represents the dimensions, and the green color represents the measures. Now we can move on to this column where we have three items. We have pages, filters, and marks. So the pages shelf lets you break a view into a series of pages so you can better analyze how a specific field affects the rest of the data in a view. And filter shelf, in this case, it gives you, or you can work with the data you would like to show or display, or the data that you would like to hide. And we're going to work on, we're going to use filters a lot in this analysis. And also we have the marks, and marks contains functionalities related to coloring, size, labels, and so forth. So we can use these functionalities in many ways, and so I'll show you how we will work on this. But I want you to see this, which is automatic. It means that when you create visualization, when you want to create a visualization, Tableau will automatically suggest a visualization based on the data that you have provided, until when you can decide on the visualization of your choice. I will also show you how to deal with this. Next is this section, which is the workspace area. So this is where we create our visualizations, dashboards, and stories. And we have this, what is show me. And this one allows us to adjust the type of visualization we use. So if I can click here, you can see it will suggest a number of visualizations that we can use. And so we will work on this as well, in addition to what Tableau will suggest. And when you are looking at the relationship between some fields, Tableau will highlight this to show you which ones you can actually select, and we are going to work on that. Now for the show me, you can click again and that will be hidden. So let me go back to this section. Here it's where we can create our visualizations, or we can create the dashboards and stories. So how do we create the visualizations? You can see we have drop field here, and then drop field here, and also drop field here. That means we can grab any of the fields and drop in all these sections. However, it all depends if your field, or if the field is supposed to be in x-axis or in y-axis. In other words, it all depends if the field will give you the row or it should be in the column. Now, normally or basically, the dimensions will go to the columns, so you can drop them here. You can drop them here. And measurements, which are in green color, they will go to the rows. So you can grab, let's say, one of these and drop here, and you can get the blue one and drop it in the column. But you don't really need to do that. It may you can also drop them either in the columns or in the rows. You can drop them here. So to make it easier, you will grab now the green ones that will go to the rows, that is the measurement, and you can grab the blue ones and drop in the columns, and so that will show the dimensions. And dimensions sometimes can give us the heading, and but we can make it easier to understand this. So the green ones are the measurements, which we are going to measure according to the dimensions. So for instance, we may look at cells in terms of ship mode, ship date, segment, region, or anything. So we can also look at the quantity, which is green, in terms of any of the blue. So we can say discount in terms of city, country, or market, and so forth. So in this case, we have to put markets in the columns, and we can put the blue ones in the columns and green ones in the row. So how do we do that? So we will take an example. Let's say we want to look at the cells, and so all we have to do is just grab cells, either drop it here in the rows, or you can also drop it there. You can see you can grab and drop. So when you drop your cells, you can see Tableau will create the columns automatically. But we may want to see cells in terms of, let's say we want to look at cells in terms of the order date. So this is blue, and therefore I will grab this and bring it up here. So now you can see Tableau will change the type of visualization, and it will create the line. So why did it do so? You can see that the order date is, we can see that we have dates from 2011 to 2014. So this creates time series. And remember, we learned that when we are looking at data during a period of time, then it is a time series data. And to show the time series data, we use the line. And so Tableau understands that, and therefore it creates the line. So you can see that the cells are changing from 2011 to 2014, and you can see how they fluctuate. So you can see this one is different, the slope is different from this one and also this one. So let's say it is the short period of time and you'd like to use something like the bar chart. So you can either change automatically here and create the bar chart, or you could actually go to the show me, and show me will suggest a number of other visualizations that you can create. So either you can use the line chart, also you could use tree map, and you can use the horizontal bars or stacked bar. You could also use the pie chart or the highlight tables, and also the heat maps. So all these are the visualizations which are suggested, but it doesn't mean you have to use them. It all depends on the choice of visualization that you want. So let's say you don't like to use line chart for now, you would like to use the bar chart. You could click here and you can see also how cells have been increasing from 2011 to 2014. So that is how we can actually create this visualization. Now you can see that Tableau will provide the the heading, which is the order date, meaning that this is the dimension. And also you can see the cells, which is the measurement. And the measurements are done from 2011 to 2014. So it's important also to name this visualization, which we have already created, and we can name it here. So you can just click here and name your visualization, or you can name it as well the same name as the worksheet. So in this case, you can right click and rename it. So let's rename it from the sheets or the worksheet. So let's say sales and date. So you can see this one also is labeled as sales and date. You could change, for instance, you don't want to use the name that is on the worksheet, so you can still double click here and rename it the way you want, and the name will appear here differently from how it is on the worksheet. But since we're going to create a number of worksheets, I would prefer naming the visualization based off the worksheet where I have it, and I'll open a number of worksheets to create different visualizations. So again, let's assume that we have already created this visualization, and we're going to use it, and so you need to use it and write a report. So you can save this as a file, so you can go to file and save as, or you can export this, and you can export it as PowerPoint if you are using PowerPoint if you are creating the PowerPoint, so you can export it to the PowerPoint and is writing a report. Also, since this is the worksheet, you can go to the worksheet and export this visualization as image. I prefer mostly to export it as image on my desktop, and then I can use it in Word document or in in the dash in a PowerPoint, or in a way that I want to explain my visualization. So I can export as image and save it on the desktop. Also, you can export this as crosstab. That means the data that created this will be exported. So let me show you the data that was used, the order date and sales. How does it look like? So you can right click here and duplicate it as crosstab. So that is the duplication. Go down again, you can see sales and date 2. So when you click there, now you can see the crosstab. You can see the years, and also you can see the data. Now, this is the data which was used to create this kind of visualization. You can see we have 2011 to 2014, and also we have the cells over this period of time. And so that can be shown like this, or it can be shown by the line chart. So just to remind you what we did here, all I did was to grab the measures, and I selected one measure, which is cells, and I dropped it in the rows because basically measurements will go to the rows and dimensions will go to the columns. So I picked cells and drop it here, and then I picked order date, and it is here. All I did was just to grab and drop it here, and then Tableau created this visualization. So we can actually do more to this, and you can see that we have order date in terms of years. So we have from 2011 to 2014. I may want to classify this data in terms of, let's say, quarters. For each year, we are going to see the performance quarterly. To do so, all you can do is you can click on this plus sign here. Once you click on it, then you can see we have the quarters. And our visualization has changed. We have the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. That's for year 2011. And then 2012, we have the same. 2013 and 2014, they look, this is how we can distribute our data on quarterly basis. And so we can explain it, how does it look in different quarters in each year. And in fact, you can see that the data doesn't look the same except 2012 and 2013. You can see the fluctuations are the same. But on the fourth year, you can see there is increase. There is a steady increase from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. Here you can see that the increase of sales increased from quarter 3. We have abrupt increase from the third quarter to the fourth quarter. So you can explain your data on quarterly basis. Now, assume that you would like to look at this in terms of not quarters, but on monthly. So you can see this drop down sign here. You can click on it, and you have a number of choices that you can do. You can filter, meaning that you can filter anything that you want. You can hide information, or you can show some information. We'll come back to the filter. So you can create the highlighter, or you can sort and do a number of things. But all I want to do here is to change the visualization from the quarters to months. So you can see it shows the quarter. I could bring it back to the year, but I want to look at this in terms of months. So each year we're going to see different months. So you can see we have January to December for 2011, same for 2012, 2013, as well as 2014. Now, you can see that in this screen, we cannot see 2014. So this is what we call the standard view, and it's up here. Let's say, for instance, you'd like to see everything. You want to see the entire view. So just change here to entire view, and everything will be brought. Everything can be seen here. Or you can decide to change, like to make sure that it fits to width. And you can also decide like it should fit to height. But in this case, entire view is actually okay. So you can see we are looking at years and months. So we start from January to December. We cannot see January here, but actually it is there because we just squeezed this. If you go with the standard view, then you can see we need to scroll. We don't see the entire visualizations here. Now, that's another problem because we can only see this separately. So we may decide to view this together in one place. So we can see 2011, 2012, in the same place. And to do so, we will need to change the colors. So one will be blue, the other one will be different colors. So we can put all of them together. So how do we do that? Now that's when this area becomes useful for us. So we can go to the years and grab this from the columns and drop it in the colors. That means we will consider years in terms of colors. So once you drop there, you can see we have year. Year is being represented by the colors, and therefore we have different colors. We have blue and orange, red, and green. And each one will represent different years. So you can see 2011 is in blue, orange is 2012, red 2013, and green will be 2014. And so that we can put all of them together from January to December. And so you can see fluctuations in one place. So since we are looking at January to December, that is one season. And we may try to look at our data if it's season or if there is a seasonality in the fluctuation. And that is true. You can see from January to February, there is downward sloping of the sales, and there is an increase from February to March, and then the sales drop again. But we can see from April to June, up to June, there is increase. So we can see for all years, there is an increase in sales, and then there is dropping of sales in July. And then they go up and start fluctuating almost the same. And so we can say that although our sales increase over time, but they maintain seasonality. They maintain the same fluctuation or the same pattern. So you can save your visualization either as image, go to the worksheet and export as image, and you can bring it to the Word document where you can explain your visualization, or you can export it as PowerPoint, and that will go to the PowerPoint, and you can provide your comments the way you would like to explain the visualization, or you can save and so forth. So that is all about this visualization. If it's of good use for you, then you can actually take it and explain it. So probably you may not want this to look like this, not on monthly basis. Probably you can decide to change this from months to dates. So just go drop it down. You can go to day. Let's see how it looks like. So you can see we are looking at the days and it looks this, or you may decide to bring it back to quarters, and so it can look like this, or probably you want this to look in terms of years, so you can see different colors from 2011 to 2014. We have different colors. So let me bring this back to months, and perhaps for me this is a good visualization. Now we may want to create another visualization if this is done. So you can go to worksheet number 2 and then create another visualization. So you may want to compare profit and sales in terms of years, for instance. So let me grab sales, and it is green, and all I have to do, I will drop it in the rows. And also I need to look at profits. So I'll grab profit, and because it is green, I'm going to drop it in the rows. So you can see we have sales and also we have profits. Probably we can decide we want to see this in terms of either in terms of category or in terms of city, country, market, and so forth. So we can go with the markets if we want. We could also go with the order date. So let's try to work on something else. Let me bring the market. So we want to look at sales and profit in terms of markets. So if that's the case and this is blue, I'm going to drop it in the columns. When you drop it in the columns, you can see we have different markets. We have Africa, APAC, Canada, EMEA, EU, Latin America, and US. So you can see how much sales are made in these different markets, and also you can talk about the profits. You can see in Africa we are selling this much, but also we are making this much of profit. And also in APAC there is a huge sale and also huge profit. In Canada, for instance, we are selling a little, but also we're making significant profit, and so forth. In US also we are making sales and also we are making profit. So that's in terms of the market. So you can say, how are we doing in Africa? In Africa, we are selling this much, and also we are making some profit this much. We are selling a lot in APAC, and also that's where we can depend on profit. This company is making more profit in APAC than in any other region. So this actually is a wonderful visualization. You can rename it either in the worksheet or you can rename it here, so that we can move on to another worksheet. Let me just rename it there, and I'll say it is sales and then profit and market. So if I click OK, you can see that this is named. However, we didn't name the sheet, the sheet. So all we can do is rename it as sales, profit, and market. Or you can rename it differently the way you want. That's okay. If at all you are interested with this visualization, or else you could actually change this visualization to something different if you want to, or you can also go to the show me to see which kind of visualization that you can use in this case if it satisfies your needs. You can see also it shows the scatter plot, it shows the tree maps, the horizontal bars, the stack bar, and it's also showing box and whisker plots, the bubble chart, and so forth. But your data and the kind of visualization you want will actually depend on your choice, and so you can create the visualization. So I'm going to give you exercise, and in this case, just open the new worksheet and make decision of any graph that you'd like to create, just a simple one. And in that case, you will need to go with the measurements, either discount, profit, quantity, sales, or shipping cost, even orders, and just drop one in the rows and select anything that you would like to see in terms of either state, in terms of subcategory, or in terms of any of these dimensions, and see how it looks, how it will look like. So go ahead and create that and let me know. Okay, so I'm going to show you different types of visualization or visualizations, and one is how to create geographical locations or geographical visualizations, meaning that you would like to see where your data is located, where perhaps in this case we are making sales, and therefore we may want to see where we are making sales in the world or in a country. So we can see that in two different ways. You could create the latitudes and the longitudes. So I'll grab latitude and drop it in the rows, and then I'm going to grab longitude and drop it in the columns. And so in this case, you can see that we have the world map. So I may want to be a little detailed. So I may want to bring in states. So I'll go to the dimensions, and here we have state. So where will I drop state? I want to be in detail. So the state should be, I want to detail, or I want to have this data in detail according to state. So I'm going to grab state, and all I'm going to do with it is, I'll grab state and drop it in detail. So now you can see that this will show states, and it's in America where we can see different states. I believe countries like India also has states. So, and that is how I could detail this. And in this case, I have in the map, it shows the states in the United States. And it shows that this company is working in all these states. However, we have no idea how much sales this company is making in all these states. And so we can grab sales and drop in the size to see where the company is making more sales and just little sales. So let's see the size of sales in all these states. And you can see that California, it's where the company is making more sales. And some other places here, you can see it's making little sales. So this is followed by New York. And we have significant sales in Texas, Illinois, and so forth. So you can see different sizes of the sales on these different states. And you can see it starts from 3 to 485,171 cells. Now, you may want to change this and try to see the cells in colors. So let me grab it from the size to colors. So you can see I just grabbed it here and drop it in the colors. And so it shows also cells in terms of colors. So the deep blue is more cells, and this one is the color is lighter, and so it shows the less cells. As the color deepens to deep blue, then that's the more cells we have. And we could also look at let's say profit, and we can bring profit here. Just grab profit, and instead of dropping it in detail and color, let's put profit in label. So let's label our profits. So you can see we can label profits in all these places and see where we are making sales and where we are making losses. You can see in California, this company is making actually a profit. But in Texas, it's not making profit, it's making loss. And it's actually a big loss. In some other places, we can see, for instance, it's selling less, but in places like South Dakota, but there are some profits. These other places, they're making little sales, but they're making profits. And places like Texas, it's really surprising because they are selling a lot and they're not making profit. So we can actually find out what happens with Texas. And that's where the filter is actually important. We can filter only this place and try to analyze what happens with Texas. So how do we do this? So you can go to the analysis and then drop down and go to the filters. And so in this case, we can filter in terms of latitude or longitude, or we can actually filter in terms of state or sum of profit and sum of sales. So let's filter this in terms of state because we want to look at what happened in Texas. So we will filter this in terms of states. And so you can see we have states here, and we can edit filter. And so just go to click on the state, and in this case we will filter, we'll select from the list, and so we can create none. That means none of this is selected, and we can go with just Texas. So we can select Texas. In terms of the city, you can see we have a number of cities. In terms of Texas, we have a number of states that we can select, but you can just type Texas, and Texas will show up. You can see we have even some other places like Tanga and so forth. And so, but all we need is just Texas, and let's click OK. And in this case, we can show Texas where we are making sales, but also we are making losses, and we can do more analysis from Texas. And probably we can find out what are we selling in this place that is making the loss. And so you can bring in some other factors. For instance, you can bring in subcategory, or you can bring in category itself. And so you see this is blue, we can bring it and drop it here. And that shows the category. So you can bring in a number of things to see what actually makes this place to be less. Or you can do some other things. You can do some other analysis in another worksheet that will explain what happened in Texas, and also find which category or subcategory that is not selling in Texas. So let me show you how you can bring that. Go to another worksheet. So don't forget to label this sheet or the visualization itself. So let's go to another new worksheet, and all we would like to see is the sales and profit. So let's take sales and drop it in the rows because it's green. And also we are going to bring profit in this row. But remember, we are looking at states. So let me grab states and drop here. So I'm going to filter because I'm not going to add all the states. So I'm going to filter. And in this case, I'm going to type here Texas. And that will be selected from the list. So let me type again Texas. And first of all, I'll click none. Sorry. None will be selected. Sorry about that. None. Sorry. So I'm going to click on none and then type Texas. And so I'll select Texas and click OK. So we can see sales which are made in Texas. And we would like to know what type of subcategory we are selling there. So let me drop subcategory here. And you can see a number of subcategories. We have accessories, appliance, art, and so forth. I may want to look at this in terms of category. And in that case, I could grab category, drop it down here, or subcategory, or I may remove it, category. And so let me remove the category, just grab and drop. And let me start with the category first. Bring the category here and see See the sales in Texas and profit. According to furniture, we are making actually loss, and office supplies, we are making huge loss. Only technology is giving us profit in Texas. But let's look at the subcategory, bring the subcategory there. So we have furniture, office supplies, and technology. And let's see what we are not actually making profit from. And you can see in this area, in terms of furnitures, this company is not making profit in any of the subcategory. In terms of appliance in Texas, the company is making little profit in art and also office supplies and labels and papers. But all these other subcategories, the company is making losses. In terms of technology, still the company is making loss in terms of machines, but it makes a lot of profit in terms of, it makes more profit in terms of phones and copiers and accessories. So you can actually explain this visualization from this particular visualization. Now I'm going to jump into dashboard where we can explain these two together. So I will create the dashboard. So I'm going to click on the dashboard, and we have our first dashboard where we can put a number of visualization and be able to explain them. So how do we create the dashboard? So we have a number of choices. The first one is the device that you'd like to view the dashboard. You could use any dashboard. For instance, you can use the phone, you can use tablet, or you can use your computer. But let's look at the size of the visualization. And so in this case, you can drop down here to fix the size, and I will drop down the desktop browser, and I'll go with the generic desktop. You can use anything, any choice of you want, the laptop browser and all this kind of browser. So I would like this to go to generic desktop. That's what I normally use. And so we are using generic desktop, and the width is actually explained. You can change the width if you want. And then there is this very important, the tiled and floating. So the tiled means that if you put your visualization here, it will be static. But if you want to make it floating, it's good. You can float it the way you want. So let me select the floating, and you will see what will happen. And so in this case, I'm going to bring in only these two visualizations. So I'm going to grab sheet 4, which we have already created, and drop it here. So the floating, sheet number 4, and drop it here. So you can see that, let me remove this one, and also I'm going to remove this. So you can see, we have Texas listed here. Let me remove this. Let me bring in sheet number 4, bring it here. And all I need to do is this one. And also let me remove this. So we have Texas, the state of Texas. Keep only Texas. So that's what we have. We can keep only Texas. And also, because we are floating this, you can see that I can move it anywhere I want. So I can grab it from here, float it anywhere you want. And so I want it to be here. You can size it the way you want. And then you can bring in another visualization, which is sheet number 5, and drop it wherever you want. Let me drop it here. And you can also resize it the way you want. And just put it wherever you want it to be. and that's the entire view. You can also select either standard or entire view if you want to. You could bring in any other visualization of your choice. So let's bring in sales, profit, and market. And in this case, you can see that we have 3 visualizations, which we can explain all of them together. For instance, I can talk of the markets in US. We can see that the US market is making good profit, good sales, and also good profit. However, it is not everywhere in US that we are making profit. There are some states where we make losses, although we can make good sales. Now I can go back to Texas and say, in Texas, for instance, we're making big sales, but also we're making a sizable loss. And we can explain this in terms of subcategories, and we can see that here the office supplies is actually the item which makes too much loss in Texas, and profits are obtained in just some items, including technology. But copiers is not making good sales. I mean, machines, we're making losses in Texas. So you can explain this together in the same dashboard. That's how we can create the dashboards, especially when we have some visualizations that you can explain all of them together. Now you want to save this and put it in Word document or in the PowerPoint. And so all you can do is, instead of going to the worksheet, this is not the worksheet, this is the dashboard. You can go to the dashboard and export dashboard as image. You can export or you can copy it as image, and then you can paste it in Word document. Or you can export this as image and save it on your desktop and copy it to the Word document and be able to explain it.